And yet here we are, listening as a soundtrack to our event tonight. Leroy Anderson, the composer, managed to turn the clicks and clacks into music. But for many of us, including myself, that was once the real sound in our workplace. When I started my career, the first thing I had to prove to my employer had nothing to do with my financial background and financial knowledge or my leadership potential. It was that I knew how to type on a typewriter. That was the test of professional readiness back then. Fast forward today, my 11-year-old is teaching me how to use ChatGPT, well, more efficiently. And that, I think, is the mindset of what we need today. That's how we grow, by making room for others to teach us, no matter of age, title, or experience. It began with typewriters, stories typed on one word at a time. Today is TikTok, ideas shaped in a heartbeat. Experience meets innovation. Wisdom meets fresh ideas. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cristina Economo. I'm a finance professional, 25 years of experience, and a proud member of the ICC Cycus Women. I think I just revealed my age, by the way, but I know I'm not alone in the room, so I feel okay. Each of us carries own stories of adapting, learning, and finding our place in this changing workplace. Tonight is about those stories. This is more than a conversation. It's a spark for the future. Before we begin, I'd like to extend our heartfelt thanks to the Cyprus University of Technology, and in particular the EUT Coordination Center and the Research Office for their generous support. Special thanks to the brilliant team behind the scenes who handle everything from logistics to speaker coordination. Andrea Iabona, Stefani Stylianou, Maria Haralambous, Despina Tsiloglanidou, a very, very big thank you. Special thanks goes to Dr. Vasiliki Tringa for you, for me, my gift. You believed in this event from the very beginning, and here we are now. Your support and vision made Boomers, Zoomers, and Boardrooms possible. So we have an exciting program ahead of us featuring distinguished professionals and vibrant young voices. Please don't hesitate to engage, ask questions, or share views. This is not, and I repeat, not a passive audience evening. Let the journey now begins. It is my great pleasure to invite our first speaker. Please welcome Monica Ioannidou Polemitis, President of ICC Cyprus Women Leadership.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome. We've gathered here today to discuss intergenerational dialogue and collaboration in the workspace. Before we dive into the topic, I want to address 3 simple questions. The first one is, why have a conversation at all? And the answer is because public dialogue in our country is suffering. Too often it is shallow, reactive, and I'm sure you will agree with me, more often than not, below mediocre. Without better dialogue, we cannot have educated citizens, we cannot remain active, and we cannot make informed choices about whom we elect in positions of power, who we decide they represent us in key decision-making positions. The second question is, why gather physically to discuss and not just exchange ideas on social media? And the answer is because social media has created bubbles, and we all live in them. algorithms feed us more of what we already believe in and less of what challenges us. We all view reality through a lens shaped by our background, our values, and our experiences. But if we never change that lens, if we never listen to the opposite opinion, we risk remaining trapped in a narrow perspective. Real dialogue requires us to shift that lens, even for a while, just to see the world as others do. And the third question is, why discuss this particular topic? And the answer is because, for the first time, multiple generations are working side by side in the same space. And the gap between these generations is widening. When I started working at the beginning of this millennium, so not too long ago, advanced technology in the workspace meant having a website and using email for correspondence. Today, artificial intelligence is not just helping us out anymore, it's making decisions for us. So the rapid pace of change makes dialogue between generations more urgent than ever. I want to thank you all again for coming here today, but I really want to also sincerely thank the organizing committees of ICC Cyprus, my fellow board members, as well as the European Research Office at the EUT Plus Coordination Center at the Cyprus University of Technology. I hope that tonight is the beginning of a conversation that is deeper, more constructive than we usually allow ourselves. I wish us a great evening.
And we continue with Professor Sodiris Kalogiru, head of the EUT Coordination Center at the Cyprus University of Technology.
Thank you very much. Good evening, dear friends. It's with a great pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the EUT Coordination Center of the Cyprus University of Technology to today's event entitled Boomers, Zoomers, and Boardrooms, from Typewriters to TikTok, co-organized by the European Research Office of the Center and the International Chambers of Commerce, the Cyprus Women. The theme of today's events is not only timely, but deeply meaningful. How different generations can coexist, collaborate, and innovate together in the modern workplace. The dialogue we begin here today highlights the simple truth. Process does not come from uniformity, but from synthesis. Where the experience of older generations meets the creativity and technological fluency of the younger ones, innovation emerges, and the future is shaped collectively and with vision. This spirit is also characterizes EUT, the European University of Technology, an alliance of which our university have been a member in the past 5 years, in an attempt along with other 8 European universities to form the European University of Technology. Our shared goal is to create a unified European ecosystem of education, research, and innovation. In 2023, recognizing the need for more effective coordination and greater strategic involvement of the Alliance, we established the EUT Coordination Center at our university. The center is staffed by members of the academic and administrative community, as well as research associates, and is supported by 7 specialized offices. Through initiatives such as today's event, the center aims to bring students, staff, and members of the board, local community closer together, strengthening collaboration, dialogue, and the university's outlook-looking mission. The key role of this effort is played by the ERO, the European Research Office, which operates within the EUT Coordination Center. The ERO serves as the main support hub for researchers at our university within the EUT Alliance, providing an environment that allows our research community to focus on their work. At the same time, it collaborates closely with the other 8 EROs in the Alliance to strengthen international partnership and promote research excellence. Today's event reflects 2 core objectives of the ERO at our university. The first one is strengthening engagement with society through events, discussions, and joint initiatives. This is actually a basic principle of EUT as well. And the second is sharing scientific knowledge with citizens and local community, also a prime objective of the EUT. In this way, it goes beyond academic reflection, actively contributing to bringing the generational gap and clearly expressing the mission of Research Office to promote participation, collaboration, and open science with a real societal impact. Let me take a moment to express my gratitude to the ICC Cyprus women for the excellent collaboration we have, all the speakers and panelists for their valuable contributions, the dedicated staff of both the UT Coordination Center and ICC Cyprus women for making this event possible, and finally to each one of you that you are here present to participate in this event. Your presence here this evening and your interest prove that when experience meets innovation, the results isn't just theory. It's a powerful reality that brings together and drives progress. A typical example of how different generations can truly work together is at our center. As needless to say, I'm the only boomer among many, many Zoomers, but we do great work. And the result there is.
As we said, there are many among us tonight. Before we jump into our multi-generational panel, let's take a moment to explore the human side of generational dynamics, the mindset, emotions, and leadership styles that shape how we relate to one another. To help us do that, we are honored to welcome someone who works with leaders across generations and industries, guiding them through change, unlocking potential, and reminding them of the power of self-awareness. Please join me welcoming Hassan Al-Shohadi, Executive Coach and founder of HMS Coaching, for a special storytelling session and Q&A. His talk is titled, "We Are All Different, and That's What Makes Us the Same." Hassan.
Thank you so much, Christina, for the warm introduction. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to come today. I'm going to walk. Let me tell you a story. Actually, before we go into that, do you want to do some sort of poem and get to know each other a little bit better? To get more engaged in what we're doing? Yeah? Great. So, I invite you to go to meki.com. You can take your mobiles out. You can scan the QR code as well. You'll able to see the application. And from what I can see, we're probably like 60 or 70 people. So we'll start seeing the number of people there, highlighting that people are doing it. And this is going to give us a great indication of the diversity within this place. And it also ties in with all the communication and discussions that anyone was saying, because there are among generations in this class. They're all along cultures and diversity as well. So let's start with a simple question. What do you think is the oldest profession in history? I know, let's say we're provocative questions. And like many of you, I was thinking, probably what do you think? So I added a couple of options there, so you can choose. I added other as well, just to get an indication of what we all believe was the oldest profession in history. And think about not just people in this room or in Cyprus or in Europe, but throughout history, from the first generations up until now. Okay, so we can see that the colors are not very great. I'm going to say hunter-gatherers has the biggest, unless my eyesight is failing. Okay, so you've saved me some embarrassment. But actually, by anthropologists, they do state that hunter-gatherers were all these types of professions. Why am I bringing this up? I'll connect it all together. So, I'd love to hear from you. What do you do? And here you can ask basically with your profession. Are you a professor? Are you an IT manager? Are you an engineer, lawyer? Or you can have also a non-official designation, like a professional procrastinator, or the person who handles the kids at home. Anything, just to understand the diversity of the people as well in this class. And we can see already that marketing is one of the biggest words, so a lot of people are in marketing. We have lawyers, entrepreneurs, purchasing officers, data analysts. There's so many different people and professions in this room, just between all of us. 69 people. So a couple of more people are completing this. Really diverse. So thank you so much for answering that. Now, what I want to also understand is, which ties in with the conversation, is do you think we're more alike or different? And here I invite you to use this white quote, and to say, do you think that we're completely different or we're exactly the same? You also think about every person, all the traditions, the cultures, the experiences that people have. Okay, so we're getting an average answer of in the middle, somewhere there. Not exactly the same, not exactly different, bit of both. Interesting. So we're going to get back to this question later on. The most important question that I wanted to ask you before we go into the story is, who's the best coach in the world? Now, let me explain the options. The first one is Hassan. That's me. Second one is today's speaker. That's you. The third one is you saying it's you, which is you. And the last one is the guy who made this, which is also you. I know, I'm being very cheeky. The point is that this is the only question that we're all alike. All the other questions we've answered were completely different. And we have consensus with this one. Okay, granted, maybe I kind of influenced the answer in some way, but we do have some similarities. Great. Thank you all for participating in this show today. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to share a story with you, and it's a personal story as well. And it will connect with communication, community, differences, diversity, generations, and it's all about me. I know, I'm holding my head. And eventually, I'm going to invite you to do some sort of activity, but we'll get to that. So let me tell you a story. This story begins in my last year in university, last year in high school. I was sitting in front of my father in his desk, and it was a really big desk. And it was empty. There was nothing on the desk. And he was sitting there, holding a newspaper, and then he crinkled it, it's down, and you listen, he's like, so listen, what do you want to study? And I'm here looking at him, and I'm thinking, I had no idea. But I know that he wants me to be a doctor. How do I know this? I have 3 older brothers, and he had the same discussion with all of them. And they told me the same thing, be a doctor. So I knew that he wanted me to be dentists, cardiologists, some sort of doctor. But I don't want to be a doctor. I mean, it's a big sacrifice for me to be a doctor. So I said the second thing that came to my mind, which is what he studied, economics. He looks at me and he's like, excellent choice. So you're going to be an investment advisor. I was like, I guess so. Great. So my future was set. I went to university, graduated from economics, and then I did a master's degree in investment management. Eventually, I joined some of the biggest companies. I worked in the city in London. I used to wear the suits, run around the buses to get to work, get the tube, umbrellas, buildings, the whole thing. It was amazing. I loved it. And I really loved stocks and bonds and finance. Eventually, my career took me to Dubai, where I joined even bigger companies. And I was part of really big deals. And I met so many incredible people that were passionate about finance and making headlines. So I was really brushing with the best people in the industry. But there was something missing. I felt completely unfulfilled. I was so sad. I don't know why. And I thought that my purpose in life was to be a provider. Because when I was speaking to my colleague, this is what I believed I had to do. So at the time, I didn't allow to talk to anyone because I'm a guy and we don't talk. Especially like others who are older than me. But still, I never wanted to open up. Eventually, I found a role in Cyprus, in one of the big 4 companies. And I convinced my wife to move to Cyprus. Now, why Cyprus? I met my wife in London, and she's from Cyprus. So we used to come visit for IB regularly. Love the people, the food, the traditions, the culture, the environments. It's just great. So we started working in one of the big four companies, did really well, met a lot of incredible people, and I was the second in command in one of the new departments of the Exotic. We were profitable. I had a department. I had people. We were growing. We were making money. I still had the sense of unfulfilled. I didn't know what it was. And then in March of 2022, I had COVID, and I went into self-isolation. Anyone had COVID and went to self-isolation? Yeah. So you know how it feels. And this was in 2022, so it was still when COVID was a little bit dangerous. And when I went into the room, I felt so scared. I felt very bold. I didn't know what to expect. And I decided to use this time to reflect and understand exactly what it is that I wanted to do with my life. Now, by that time, I started reading a lot of books to understand what I wanted to do and what people were going through in order to connect and to understand and to learn. And I started meditating to explore what is this meditative state, which I never had achieved when I was in that point in my journey. But I decided to meditate asking one question. And that question was, what is my purpose in life? What is my purpose in life? I don't know if it was retriever, I don't know, medicine that I was taking, but I was meditating on that question. 40 minutes into the meditation, I saw clearly in front of me the word soul. Soul. Couldn't know what it meant. Not a doctor, not an engineer, not a lawyer. So I didn't know what that meant. So I went to bed feeling completely perplexed. The next day I woke up, started scrolling through YouTube to watch some documentaries or podcasts, and I stumbled upon Diary of a CEO. In that episode, the guest was Mo Godat. Does anyone know who Mo Godat is? Yeah. So I never knew who he was. Mo used to be executive in Google in Dubai. He was making Google X. He reached the pinnacle of any career in IT that people want to achieve. He had everything that I wanted to have in my life. All the authority, the travel, the cars, and the futuristic, everything. And then tragically, he lost his son due to routine operation. And that completely transformed his life. Now, the reason I'm sharing this story with you is because Mo decided to give everything up and read a book. And the book's name was Soul for Happy. Now, when I heard him talk about the book on that podcast, it hit me. And I was like, what is this soul thing that is just speaking to me? So I knew that it was one of the biggest signals that I had to take some action to understand what it is that I wanted to do. I came out of the room and I told my wife, I'm going to change my life because this is not working. I feel completely imperfect. And she told me, I know. I've seen it for many years. A couple of certifications and exploring and self-discovery and understanding my purpose and my why and who I am, my personalities, I came to understand that I can either be a coach or a consultant. Now, I've done consultancy. I'm pretty good at it, but I didn't love it. So I was like, let me try what coaching is. And I didn't know what coaching was. I thought it was like football coach. Still get a lot of people telling me that to this day. You're a football coach? Not really. So I did the certifications and I fell in love with coaching. And this is now everything that I do. It's where I speak to people and help them and guide them to understand exactly what they want to do in their life. It's just a mirror to partner with them. Now, why did I share all this story with you? There's two reasons. The first reason is to share the different generations that I come across. My caller, sitting in the desk, reading the newspaper, empty desk, no laptop or anything. He was not a boomer. He was the silent generation, so that's even before boomers. When I told my mother that I'm going to leave my job, stable job, great career, guaranteed promotions and everything, she freaked out. She's a boomer. When I told my wife that I'm leaving, She's supporting me. She's in learning. And throughout my journey, I met a lot of amazing and interesting people who were Gen Xs, Gen Zs, TikTokers, Ubers, Zoors, everything. And I've learned so much from all of them. So that's the first message that I want to share based on my story. The second, which is even more important, is that we all have something that is the same. We all have something that's the same. That's the experiences that we go through, the emotions, the happiness, the sadness, the anger, the frustration. These emotions that we all go through, we're all the same with that. We might feel happy because something happened, excited. We might feel inspired by this talk, maybe. But that's what brings us together, because we all share these types of experiences. And the thing that bridges the gap between the different generations and our experiences is communication. Communication is the most important part of how we connect with one another, whether it's through writings on the wall, whether it's writing scripts, Zoom calls, messages on X, Instagram, TikTok. That's the most important part that connects us. Different generations, similar experiences, communication. So, with this story, I want to do an experiment. I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll try it. I want your help. So, in a moment, I'm going to show you a screen with 3 questions. Now, before I show you the screen, this is what I would love and invite you to do. I want you to find a partner. I'm going to ask you to get up. Don't get up. Wait. And find someone that you can speak with. We're going to have around 6 minutes, so 3 minutes to each person to share. And each person will share with the audience. Now, before I show you the questions, there's 2 important things to keep in mind. For the people asking the questions, we will all ask questions, by the way, and answer. For the people asking the questions, the most important thing for you to do is ask the question and listen. Just listen, nothing else. No judgments, no critiques, just be there, completely present. And for the person who's answered, be open and honest. I hope that we have established that this is a safe space for us to share. So, these are the questions. The first question is, if a crystal ball could tell you the future, what would you like to know and why? Second question is, or what do you feel most grateful and why? And the last question, which is my favorite and most uncomfortable question that you will ask, can you describe a time you cried in front of another person? So, I invite you, find someone and ask these questions. It could be anyone. It could be someone that you know. You could just turn around, find someone behind you, find someone next to you. And we're going to spend 6 minutes exploring this. We're going to start hearing people talk to us. Yes, thank you so much. I love the energy. I love to hear people speaking and to engage and to explore these questions together. So, how was that for you? I'd love to hear from anyone. And mainly not what you heard or what you shared, but just that experience. Like, what did you feel? What kind of connections? Do you feel comfortable enough? Just raise your hand and share with us. Welcome, Dave.
Depends to whom you are talking to.
Yeah.
If you are a person that you know, like we know each other, it was bigger. But maybe you would feel uncomfortable talking to a stranger about this.
True. But that feeling that you had, even speaking to someone that you know,
It felt weird, let's say. You know, because these are very special personal things that you
Yes.
keep to yourself sometimes.
absolutely. It's so true what you said. These are very personal things. These questions are deep questions. So they go below the surface of what do you do, or what are we going to have for dinner? Well, that's a big question in our household. But like, these are based on identity and belief and our values and who we are as people. What scares us? What drives us?
It makes you think. Anyway, it also makes you think.
Yes.
You know, these three questions they really make you, they make you wake up.
Yes.
They take you to the astralite and back.
The first thing is that I felt relief. And the second thing is that even for a few minutes, I stopped thinking of my problems. I was listening to somebody else. So that was a nice feeling.
Yeah, I love that you said that because you were connecting with the other person. You were just listening. You've completely ignored everything else that was happening. Exactly. And you were speaking to each other?
No.
No.
But for us women,
Yes.
it's a bit difficult when the other one talks,
Yeah.
not to say something, you know?
Yes.
So it's sort of also,
You give the other
this is what a
person
coach
space.
does.
Yes.
Stops and listens.
Yeah, absolutely.
These are really important points. I'm sure that there's others that want to share. I'm just mindful of the time. That's why we even have 6 minutes and not 10 minutes. So, what I wanted to demonstrate with this exercise is two things. The first thing is that you're all storytellers. Because when you were answering questions, you were sharing stories. You were sharing your experiences, what you felt, what you've seen, how you witnessed things that went in your life. And that's storytelling. Now, I didn't put it into the poll that it was one of the most historical professions, but storytelling is one of the most important type of communication that we have. The second point that I wanted to share is we are all the same. Because of our experiences, because of what we feel, we all felt a connection. And that's the important message that I want to share with you. Because that, especially today in this topic, in this day and age, there's so many different ways that we can communicate. But communication is still a really important aspect. And it does bring that gap between generations closer together, by the way that we communicate. And also, I love that you shared about listening, because that's also communication. You're listening. You're actively listening and engaging with the other person. And they feel safe to share openly. So these are the messages that I wanted to share with you. I'd like to thank you for the time. Before that, I almost forgot. One more poll. So we gone through this question before. Let me pull up the mention, the QR code. In case you close your phone, you can scan it, and the same question that we asked before. We just want to get a sense of where we are. And if it's still the same, if it's higher, it's lower, it's just a thought experiment. This experiment will never happen again because probably we will all never be in the same room again doing the same type of poll. Yeah. So it's a little bit higher. If I remember before, it was like IK 5 months ago. So after that activity, we feel that we are more alike. And that was 6 minutes of asking questions. I'll leave it at that. So thank you so much for having me. I want to thank Monica, Kusina, Vicky, Andrea, the ICC Cyprus for this amazing event, for inviting, for trusting me to do this. Even when I shared that I'm going to do this, I got a little bit of response back, but thank you for trusting me, and thank you for having me, and thank you all for taking time.
And now we move into the heart of today's gathering, a live intergenerational panel discussion where we will explore how these dynamics actually play out in boardrooms, offices, and classrooms. It's my pleasure to introduce our moderator, Dr. Vasiliki Trika, Associate Professor and Dean of the Communication Media Studies Faculty at CAT. Dr. Gita will guide our speakers. He will guide the speakers from the corporate world to the next generation through an open conversation that we hope will spark thought, laughter, and honest reflection. Mickey.
Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to be here and to moderate a very interesting panel, basically because we have very interesting people, but also because we invite them to answer very interesting questions. Let me put my 50 cents as well into this kind of discussion that we're going to talk about. I'm sure that everybody knows what we're talking about and who is a boomer, who is a zoomer, who is a millennium, X, Z, Y. I had sometimes a problem in classifying myself, basically due to attitudinal habits rather than age. But I would like to point out why is this important to discuss about that today. You know, in life and in the history of society, we have various gaps and various divides. We have generational divides, technological divides, social class divides, wealth divides, poor, rich, geographical divides, historical divides. Now, we're speaking about this kind of a beef between boomers and zoomers because it seems to be playing a quite more important role than what we have anticipated. I'll give you an example. I read the research before coming here because I've been reading the newspapers, but I haven't really peered into the topic. And I just saw that Zoomers, which are the youngest in this room, tend to cut down relationships 4 times more than boomers if the friends or acquaintances basically make them angry. Something which is completely against the manners and the ethics that older or people like me, let's say, are doing. So I'll just put this slide so you can see, you can classify yourself. I don't want to know, but then it will help our speakers also to situate and classify themselves into one of these categories. I don't know if you know why they're called boomers. Because of 2 booms, the baby boom, which is the increased number of births after the Second World War, and the economic boom. Then we have the generation X, which is closer to the boomers, the generation Y, which is rather closer to the zoomers, and then we have the zoomers, which is a quite eccentric kind of group, because this is the only group that were born with the internet in the mainstream form that we know it. For example, when I was born, my mom used to put this kind of material on top of the television, then we had the modem to connect to the internet, and then now we're using gladly Zoom and ChatGPT or whatever. So these Zoomers that we're going to have with us tonight are people who actually, when we were born, the only thing they knew in terms of technology was the internet. So on this, at this point, I invite all my speakers. So please, because I'm not going to introduce them, I'll give them the opportunity to introduce themselves. So I would like the boomers or XZ, Y, X, whatever here, and the Zooms here.
So I'm Elena Meli. Hello to everyone. I'm the general manager of Genius by Band of Cyprus. We're basically a technology company focused on accelerating digitalization in the Cypriot economy. So on one hand, we provide digital services to businesses, and on the other hand, we aim to provide a lifestyle platform for all of us, the Cypriot consumers. So I would say that I am between Generation X and Millennial, although I do share values of a Millennial because I'm born towards that. So if I had to choose one hobby that actually combines both Generation X and Millennial, is the sense of ownership in everything I do. So that's few words for me, and I will pass the microphone. to the gentleman.
Thank you. Well, you have defined me, so I don't have to try. Well, my name is Tasos Trivalidis. Obviously, I'm very impressed with the number of youngsters. Because of this, I anticipated it. Before coming here, I went and spent about an hour with my teenage grandchildren, so that I feel comfortable. Right. Having said that, I will mention some details of my life because I will relate them later. I was born 77 years ago in a village in Cyprus. I studied in London. I qualified as an accountant. I worked with PwC. I was a partner of PwC for 25 years. I retired as deputy CEO, and I was also responsible for what we used to call in PwC human capital, HR. Since my retirement, I've been involved in different things, but mainly I'm on boards of big companies investing through Cyprus, outside Cyprus. My
fondest thing to say is that passion is my strength and weakness. Whatever I do it with passion. Two experiences I would mention in my life, just to relate it back to the typewriters. I will go even further behind.
So the hat?
I'm going with hand. I will go further back, and I would say my experience was when I went for the first year at the primary school in the village. I was given an abacus. Do you all know what an abacus is? Right. That's done those way before typewriters, and lady was as many thousands of years. Right? And then my other experience is that I get my 9-year-old grandson to teach me whatever I need in order to be on Instagram and listen. Yeah. Thanks.
Well, thank you. I would like I'm really grateful for being here today, and you're guys awesome from here. My name is Mary Garianidou. I'm coming from Greece, actually, from Thessaloniki. Right now, I'm doing my master here in Cyprus University of Technology in the experiential digital marketing and communication. Two things that actually describe me. I could tell you a lot of things, but I do see that that's not the point because we'll run out of time. So I will stick just to two things that really describe me as a personality and as a Zoomer. Well, the first thing is that after a really exhausting day, usually I grab my phone and I scroll on social media. And guess what? My favorite app is neither Instagram nor Facebook. It's Pinterest. Who knows Pinterest? Right? Oh, right. You know. Okay. Yes. Cross-generation now. Yeah. I love to scroll and see seducing videos, images, and trying to recreate them in the next day. So the other thing is that I write poems, but that's not the point. Actually, the point is that when I'm trying to express myself and put things like inside a paper, I find that I cannot do that. I can only make points by typing on my cell phone. And that's an extraordinary thing, but actually I find that exposures my Zoomer sides because nowadays Zoomers, they're really connected with their softwares and phones, and they are really created by just having their phone on their pockets. So that was it from me. I'll give floor to Nausicaa.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, so my name is Nausicaa Ioannidou and I'm 19 years old. I'm studying here at the back. and I'm studying communication and internet studies. I'm at third year of studies. So, although I'm a Zoomer, I have a view of a boomer in my life. What I mean by that is that I prefer face-to-face communication because it's more real for me. When you have the other person in front of you, you can understand better the message he or she wants to share. And also, hi. And also, I love to have discipline in my life and program and timetable because I want to do my things, what I want to do in a week, to have a program and the specific time and like this. So, let me breathe because I'm stressed. Yeah, I'm a Zoomer, but I need a view of a boomer in my life.
Like yours, yeah, more or less what we are. And like, so let's do the rounds the same way, also like start from you now. Because you mentioned a bit more in detail characteristics that characterize you in the generation that you belong. What misconceptions do you think the others have for your generation?
Okay. I think boomers believe that we're lazy. We don't give as much attention as it is at our job, and they think we are doing things faster than have to be. Also, I think that they believe about us. We can't communicate without our phone. Like everything we want to say is in our phone, or we can say it all in social media. And what other? I think it's three.
Is it true? No, it's a miscommunication. Is it a miscommunication? Because I had my kids, for example, my kids have their phones all the time, so I'm saying the same thing. So we are wrong.
Yes, most of the time we are at our phone. We are a little bit, I think, glued to it, but we learn from the phones a lot of things. Like we're learning from TikTok and Instagram about what is happening around the world. And we can be creative too.
Okay, first of all, great question, okay? I believe that in nature, when we have two different things, it's totally normal that there are differences also. And that differences actually make that misconceptions come on the surface. So I do believe that there are misconceptions, and one of the greatest misconceptions is the opinion actually that boomers have about Zoomers, what refers on their activity and their will to do politics. Because boomers think that Zoomers, they do not do politics at all today, that they're, let's say, somehow apolitical. But this perspective, from my perspective, this assumption, it's totally wrong. Because I do see that young children, okay, our generation is doing politics, maybe not in the conventional way, like by voting or by being a member in a party, in a political party, okay? But every day, when we're trying to choose something, to, let's say, be active, all the things are political statements, are political positions. So, and I have many examples, like Greta Thunberg, you can see she's really active. We have so many movements, the Me Too movement, the Black Lives Matter movement. And I feel really the need to share with you a personal story. Back then, when I was in Thessaloniki and I was studying, I remember it was autumn and it was our first lesson in the university. When we went to the amphitheater, Dimitris Akrivoulis, which he was my professor back then, we had with him the international relations lesson. He actually stood in front of us and what did he say? Guys, do you know what utopia is? And we were like discussing, what is it talking about? Like utopia, politics? How he connects that two things? And he laughed at us. And he told us one thing, that our utopian dimension of thoughts, it's the only thing that actually can change the world. And we can only find the truth when we constantly question the truth that we already hold. And I understood that this person was trying to teach us what politics is. And he was actually trying to say that we do politics every day in our life. So I think this is one of the biggest misconceptions, which actually shouldn't be a misconception. You understand now why. So many things like we're engaged, okay, in many things, but yeah, in a different way, but still engaged. So
that was very convincing. She's a Please, you go back to Hassan's presentation that we are more alike than different.
Experiences. There's a saying also, there's a song also, I'm sorry, which says experiences are the only things that really connect us. So
True. So I will talk about misconceptions of millennials as I feel more towards that. So I would say that one misconception is that people believe that millennials are idealistic. But really what we are is that we are committed to meaningful work, social impact. It's not that we are idealistic. Another thing that I can think of is that often people think that millennials lack loyalty. But I think that millennials are very loyal in places where they feel empowered, where they feel the trust, where they feel that they can grow. So that's a misconception about millennials. And if I was to say a third one, is that millennials, they think that they are very reliant on technology, but really what they do is use technology for efficiency or simplifying processes. No, they don't segregate. Exactly. They use technology for efficiency, I would say.
Thank you. You covered it so well. Well, I will see it from a different perspective. Because of the experience I have, as I told you, I'm 77 years old. I'm not that advanced in my age, but just to stress what I'm saying. Therefore, I have experience of probably 5 generations. Okay? And the way I see it, it's on the principle that every parent starts with the view of improving the life of their children. Everyone there. Okay? Yet, when the children grow up and they become the new generation, the parents complain that they are not doing what the parents were doing, and the children complain but the parents are not allowing the children to do it. And this has been going on in all 5 generations that I've known. And I'm sure it will be going on at the next generation. Okay? So the way we should see this life and this process, and I would say that at every stage there has been an improvement. Therefore, there is an improvement for each generation. And I'm saying this, that even at the level of juniors, there is a huge improvement, right? So if we understand that we are like a chain, and every loop of chain is useless without the previous one, and without the next one. Therefore, we should make sure that we maintain the building up of these loops to create the chain and continue the chain, because if we cut the chain, the whole thing will collapse. So I believe that we are the same in many aspects. The differences are details. The fact that we are going to use our differences more often than the uniformity is the weakness of the human being, and nevertheless, at the end, working together, it has proven all over time that we do better. Therefore, if we take pride of our children, our grandchildren, and say, look, never mind what they're doing, never mind what I'm saying now, complaining about my granddaughter who's 17, okay, that she's not so respectful and she's not this and she's that, okay? Nevertheless, if I go back, my mother used to say the same about me, okay? And I used to complain about my mother that she was pestering, okay? Therefore, there is room for all of us and we are all needed. Hand in hand, like a chain, we make this work.
Thank you. Amber, having spent years preparing about the question, do you think your generation had it easier or harder than the youngers?
Well, I'm going to go back on the chain. Every generation before the new one had it harder. But again, that generation made it easier for the new generation. And I'm telling you, at 23 years old, I was married, and at 25 years old, I had a child, okay? Now, some youngsters, the mothers think that at 30, they are still children. They treat them like children, and then they expect them to behave differently. Okay? If they're making their coffee at 30, why do you complain that in the morning they could deliver it to your coffee? I would not call delivery to make coffee for me, I would have made it myself. Therefore, this is the situation. So it's always harder, but we never want our children and grandchildren to live in a worse situation, a more difficult situation that we be.
Okay, and May, do you agree?
I agree, yes. I see your point. I see your point, and like, yeah. But I have to say, like, something else that's more connected to technology, okay? Like, people believe that we were born in a generation where, like, we have access to technology, to, let's say, an unlimited data, so I think it's pretty easy. But there is a truth that having access to that vast amount of data, it's not actually something that it's easy. Okay, sometimes it's getting really overwhelming. We feel really anxious. We're really stressed about that. And even there are times that we do not know if we need to trust, or whether if we need to trust, then what to trust and why to trust, actually. So I do believe that there are challenges that need to, like, let's say, we need to find the balance. And indeed, we had something that really differentiates us from you is we had the COVID in a point, like, let's say, where we were trying to study, to socialize, to find works, jobs, and stuff like that. Even to learn, guys, which actually like upside down came the things. So I believe that nothing was easy for us too. So yeah, I don't know. I think I agree.
Here to work.
Yes, but okay. Also, Johnny, and I think that no generation had it easy. I mean, every generation has its difficulties one way or another. So, yeah, I guess you all have difficulties.
I agree with you that difficulties will never cease to exist, okay? But improvements are continuously going to be made to make the new generation's life easy. I give you an example from my experience at PwC. When I was at PwC, at the beginning, we used to be required to write down the time where I was there and report the time you're going, the time sheet every day, etc. When I became a human capital partner at PwC, I said to myself, we must do something about it, okay, to change, because times are changing, and you're here, she can confirm it. Therefore, we were the first office to introduce flexible time, where people came to work wherever they wanted, and they left wherever they wanted. We were relying on their honesty. Okay, there are ways of controlling, but the point was not to control people. The point was to make them feel easier, make their life easier, and also you find out that once you do that, the productivity increases. Okay, then the other thing that we introduced, it was Friday afternoon off. In other words, instead of giving people 2 days off, future leisure park, it was 7 days, 6 days a week. Then it went to 5 days a week. Then we gave Friday afternoon off. And then the other introduction, we talked about going to offices in suits, etc., etc. We said on Friday morning, no suits, casual Friday. And then things developed, and then one of my dreams and ambitions, and I brought this as a recommendation to my board at the time, it was to work from home. Okay? Unfortunately, my partners did not honor me with accepting the suggestion. But, however, I'm glad to say that exactly 10 years after my retirement, the firm introduced working from home before COVID. So this is things that you make it this, even with this, within this environment or a bit like the sky, there will be difficulties will not be eliminated completely, but we make it better and less impact on the individual.
Let's see the positive and the negative things of my generation. So on the one hand, we have access to every tool of technology, AI, ChatGPT, and everything like that. And also we can communicate from everywhere. Like if our family goes to another country, we can FaceTime them and text them so we can have contact with them. And also last year, we had a project at English that we had to talk and organize a project about fake news with people from Kenya, I think. And we did a great job. We had an excellent grade, yeah. So, yeah, but what is the negative now? Our generation is comparing themselves with influencer. They're seeing that they're having fun, they're going to parties, they are going to vacation, and they're saying, my life, why is it like this? Why am I at home and I am at my bed and everyone else are around and having fun? But the reality is like, we all going to parties, we all go everywhere, and we all have the same feelings. We are not humans, no one is better than us, and we are doing the same thing. Yeah. Another thing is that we have the Pantheon, yes, I agree, and I was a teenager there. I was closed in my room, in my house for 3 years. I didn't know what to do with the technology there. I had no idea what was happening. And I think I lost some of my skills of communication there, because all day in front of the computer, in front of your four walls, what to do there. So I think that my generation didn't have an easier life, or other generation had an easier life, but it is a different life. It's not the same. All the generation have difficult there.
I did my research a bit just to see which generation had it harder, and I just compared economy. So the boomers had it a little bit easier than the zoomers. So possibly paying cost of education, groceries, accommodation. It was likely, if you put it into macroeconomics and to do all the calculations, zoomers had it a little bit easier than boomers than zoomers. In terms of technology, zoomers have it much easier than particularly you guys. So that's why the problem on the concrete, because you had a machine that just pushing your buttons, that would be a problem. And then in terms of
to crime.
in terms of jobs and employment, also the boomers had it slightly easier because they had a bit more stability, let's say welfare state and pension rights, than what zoomers had it here. So more than what we think, if we put it into numbers, maybe you had it a little bit easier than those guys here, but there are, of course, lots of other dimensions that, these guys have it much easier than you. Point to the last question, because I'd like you to let me do the question and then base your rounds, because I want the audience also to participate and raise your questions. So I'm going to raise the last question to the panelists and also think your questions to raise to the boomers and zoomers. So the last question is, which habits or values or experiences of your generation you think it constitutes a good lesson for the other ones? So what, in other words, and in simple words, what advice would you give them based on your experience?
I believe that, first of all, one has to believe in themselves. You should never see themselves as anything less than a person. Okay? And when you do something, do it with passion. Okay? Because if you do it with passion, you do it well. If you do it well, then stability will come. And if stability comes, then the financial reward becomes. It will cover everything.
Thank you.
Okay, I will pick just two. I think I would say to Zoomers, power Zoomers, to have resilience, first of all. And second of all, I would say the collaborative mind, because that's very important. And going back to Hassan's presentation, I think if we all have a collaborative mind and we utilize each generation's values, then we have a strong ground to innovate and move forward.
What advice could I give? Okay, that's nice. I will stick to to what you said about agility, about the flexibility. I think that being flexible nowadays in such a fast-changing world, it's really important. So, and the other thing that I would like, let's say, that really counts for me is the passion you said, exactly, okay? So we are agreeing, okay, in this part. All the successful people actually that I have met in my life, they all had one thing in common, and that was their desire to learn, to rediscover, to live, to feel and love, and all that with passion. Everything that surrounds us, actually, it's a matter of pure energy, and passion is the greatest form of energy. So if we just stay focused on things that really excite us, then we just can conquer the world, and we have nothing to be afraid of. Two things then, passion and flexibility.
Okay, now I'm giving advice to you or to everyone from my experience. Okay, I forgot to say about my Zoomer life. I will say that first. Okay, I'm a TikToker. I have over 41,000 followers on TikTok. And what I'm doing there, you can follow me like as Nasiga. Okay. What I'm doing there, I'm trying every week to learn a new choreography and post it there. And also I'm trying to voice my opinion and feelings about what is happening around the world and advise my audience to stay strong and positive in this life because there's a lot of negative around us and we need to be the positive, of course. And what advice I want to give is like, okay, everyone can say a lot of things about you, like about how tall are you, how your weight is, the way you're looking like, the clothes and everything. Okay, you can say that. You're free to say whatever you want. Just be yourself, do what you like, okay? And love what you do it with passion, of course. And don't give attention of what others are saying. You know how many hate comments I have? Billion. Like it was a time I was walking in the street and everyone was hating me. I didn't know where I can go. Like it was very scary, but I continue to do what I like, to dance. Okay, they are saying I'm not dancing as they want me to dance. Yeah, okay, I will learn. I'm going to dance classes. Okay, I'm doing whatever I want. I love what I'm doing, and I love when people come to me and say that I make their day feel better because of what I say and because of the energy I'm giving to others. Okay, you can follow me if you want.
The technique usually got me a follower.
What?
The technique we got me a follower.
Yeah.
Okay, so if a conflict so big, so worse, that we resolve so easily as this intergenerational divide or that result today, they would have been a much better world. Anyway, I will give the floor to you for the next 10 minutes, and we would like to listen to your comments because I really don't want. I know you might be tired and you might crave for a glass of wine, but okay. I think we can use the time valuably for that because me personally, when I go to events and like other people staying calm in my seat, listening to that for 1 hour and a half, and then I'm not given the opportunity to say something or not say something, but listen to others, I'm getting a little bit sad. So that's why we designed this event to dedicate these 10 last minutes to you, so you can raise questions to our panelists, which, as you can see, automatically there are too many to say people. So, yeah, anybody? Zoomer, Boomer?
Hello, good evening. Congratulations to such a wonderful organization. Very interesting topic. I have a comment and a question. Congratulations to each and everyone on the panel. From Boomer to Zoomer, and of course you, coordinator. Allow me to introduce myself by my generation. I'm Generation X. So the importance I think it is that people like us, that they're in the middle, we have seen from Boomers to Zoomers, the transition. So we have a different point of view, and I think it's important. I would agree that there's no right or wrong, there's no better or worse. Every generation has their own difficulties
and privileges, if you like. As a researcher myself, I have certain concerns though about the new generations, especially when it comes to forming relationships. This is, perhaps it's a personal thing as well, but admittedly, seeing the new generation forming and dissolving relationships so quickly, for me, it's a bit problematic and requires special attention.
Any other questions, comments? So Panos, the gentleman at the back. Panos, so you mentioned the fear of commitment in terms of relationships.
The big question is, should she get or should they get a phone? I'd like to ask the Zoomers and the millennials and the boomers together. So, and then I'd like to do a quick hand. So, Zoomers, yes, no, 12 years old.
Okay, because it's her birthday tomorrow. Okay, buy her a phone, but you need to be careful and don't trust everything you see, and don't do things you don't want to do. If you don't want to do some stuff, don't do it.
Friends, I have another opinion. You can buy the one with the buttons we had, okay? So no TikTok, no Instagram at all.
So I would vote for a yes. Actually, I do have twins, 12-year-old, and they have a phone since they were 10. So sorry, guys. I would say go for it with controls. I mean, there are all sorts of controls that you can place in the mobiles. So yes, do it.
Okay, I think we're going to be in trouble.
Probably my answer will be come as a surprise to you. My answer is yes. Really, yes. Because your children did not become 12 years old tomorrow in a society who decided to introduce phones tomorrow. If that was the case, I would have told you no. But you have a society that's been operating phones for the last 20 years, some, and the social pressure on these kids, if you don't buy it for them, it will be more harmful than if you do. Provided you are careful with all the securities that are. Thank you.
If you could change something from the day that you was born, what it would be and why?
Wow. That's like Are there any other questions just to give these speakers the time to think such a deep question, actually? Okay, then I will give the floor to, I will start from the boomers, and Dasha, you can provide an answer to Panos about the lack, okay, that's the Zoomers, the lack of commitment on the part of the Zoomers, but Panos, the second question was,
if we represent that,
if you think that you're represented, if you're a real
Okay.
of Cyprus society.
Okay. The first question, it will be the one that was asked later, whether I would change anything in this world. I feel that the world is beautiful. It's been improving with all its weaknesses, and I don't think I would have required to change it. That's my point of view. Can you repeat the?
I was asking if you think, each and every one, if you think that you represent the average person of your generation in the Cypriot society.
I am a boomer because my experiences were within my generation, most of my experiences. However,
I feel that I was and I am somebody that always looks into the future. I like to give chances to the youngsters to improve not only the society, generally life, improve themselves and improve the community. Therefore, I wouldn't consider myself as an average woman.
Okay. Hard question. I was thinking while the rest were talking. I would say that we share a lot of common characteristics, let's say as millennials, but we are distinct in each way. I mean, each person is distinct in each way. So I wouldn't say that I represent the average millennial as well. So for the question of the gentleman, I think what I would like to change from my generation is people to be more open-minded, because back then people were very narrow-minded and they cared about what the next person would say, or don't do this or do that. So I would definitely change that back then in my generation. Thank you.
For the first question, I think that I'm a mix. I'm a mix of boomer and a zoomer. Like, I am really open-minded, but in the same time, I will take the advice of my parents and I will listen carefully what she has to tell me about her experiences. So I think that there's no, like, let's say, contrast. As Zoomers, we like to be in the boomers era too, to live that both eras. For the question that was asked, I think that I would not change a thing from back then when I was born, because I believe that everything in life happens for a reason, and I am exactly where I need to be right now. So no changes.
Okay, because I'm a TikToker, and TikToker is in a Zoomer era, I could say that a big part of me represents what Zoomer are. But as I said at the beginning, I need Boomer view in my life too. Yes.
This is my student. This is a typical Zoomer. This is me as a Boomer. I'm not a Boomer, but I act as one.
And the other
change.
If you asked me before university what I will change, because I wanted to study dance, okay, and I passed here at the back. I didn't want to come at the back at all. I wanted to go follow my dream, my passion. But now that I see that I'm happy at the back, I found people that can understand me and can accept who I am. So I don't want to say I regret something about my life. Everything happened for a reason. And it's gonna be great, and I believe in myself, and I will go as God wants me to go.
On this very positive and promising note, I would like to thank you very much. You've been an amazing audience, interactive, attentive, amazing. And that's why we invite you to come out and grab a glass of wine and we can continue to talk this very interesting discussion. Thank you very much.